Hey there, it's Rachel here. Excited to share with you a little bit about rolling out EOS to the rest of your organization. So I'm going to cover a few topics today, two in particular. One is what does rollout look like? And the second is an event called the State of the Company Address. And I'll talk about both of those in detail throughout this video. So first of all, this is something you're familiar with, the EOS proven process. It's worth noting that integrating EOS into your company requires a certain level of mastery on the behalf of the leadership team, as well as a clear plan and your commitment to make sure it sticks. So every culture is a little bit different. There's no specific formula to take EOS company-wide, but there are these general guidelines that I'm going to share today. What's important is that you've gone through these first 3 days, focus day, vision building day 1, and vision building day 2. And I taught a lot of tools. We made them applicable to you and your business and your vision. And in between our sessions, you've been practicing things like the level 10 meeting and your scorecard. And so this is very intentional that we have these 3 days with across the span of about 60 days, with the 30 days in between for spaced learning and practice. This is all building your foundation and gearing you up so that I have taught you and now you're ready to teach everybody else in the company. So getting into the two things I promised, rollout and state of the company, I'm going to start with the latter. So the state of the company is a kind of like a State of the Union. It's an address in a quarterly meeting that goes to your entire organization. This is designed to help every team member understand the company's vision and their role in helping to achieve it. You could plan for a typical State of the Company meeting to take place about a week or so after your quarterly meetings. So again, looking at the 90-day world part of this graphic, after each of our quarterly sessions that you schedule, you can schedule the State of the Company address about within a week or so, week 10 days after that session. So that'll be the perfect time. And my clients often book that all the way out right after, 3 months out after we scheduled the quarterly. Most State of the Companies are about 30 to 45 minutes long. However, your first one is going to be longer because this is your first opportunity to introduce EOS and your foundational tools to the people of your organization. So the first thing is, what is the agenda for the State of the Company? It's very, very simple. It's 3 parts: where we've been, and this is where you're going to talk about the last quarter. So how did you do on your rocks? Any financial or measurable goals or performance that you want to share? So every quarter, you're going to take a look back. Obviously, at the turn of the year or whatever your 12-month, 1-year plan is, we'll also take a look back at how we did last year and how we did in accomplishing our goals. So part 1 is looking back. Part 2 is present tense, where we are. So this is an opportunity to talk about any awards you've received as an organization or the people within it, any recognition of particular individuals like anniversaries, any major issues or challenges, announcements, just things that are more in the present tense that you want to share with everybody. And the third part of the agenda is where we are going. And this is your chance to share the entire VTO, including the rocks you've set for the quarter, with the whole team. You're going to do this every single quarter. So right then and there is 4 times a year that you're going to share the VTO with everybody. And remember, it takes at least 7 times for people to hear it, understand it, acclimate it, share it with you. So that is built into the EOS process, that you're going to share this repeatedly forevermore. Once you've integrated EOS into the fabric of your company culture, and down the road, everybody will have scorecard measurables, everybody will have rocks. There might be an opportunity there to add yet another meeting to your quarterly rhythm, which is after the state of the company address, people can break out into departments and have department meetings where each team gets the chance to review once again the VTO, the company rocks for the quarter, and then set their department or individual rocks. So that's the 3-point agenda, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. That's the standard agenda for every state of the company going forward. But as noted, the first one is going to be different because we have to roll out EOS first. So in your first state of the company address, your agenda is going to stay largely the same, but where we've been is going to be a little more detailed, because where you've been for the past 60 days is working on learning, practicing, and mastering the tools of EOS. And so we've got to put some context to that. This is your chance to talk about, what is EOS? What does it stand for? What does it mean? Why have we opted to go down this path? What is the benefit for all of you that are on our team? What does this mean for us as an organization? So share your reasons for taking this journey, share your passion for what you've built and the vision that you've created, and make sure that all of that excitement and emotion comes through. I also want to say here that do not make this a one-directional conversation. This isn't you talking to them. It should have the feeling of a town hall. So involve your people, share stories, get them emotionally charged, share your passion, ask them questions. Maybe even they can contribute. So when you introduce the core values, they can say, oh my gosh, I totally see that. And they can share their own stories of other individuals living the core values in the company. So we've got there are 5 foundational tools. So the 5 foundational tools, again, are the VTO, rocks, scorecard metrics, accountability chart, and your meeting pulse. So let's start with your VTO. So this one is not yours, it's a blank one. But you'll get the flavor of how you might want to go through this when you introduce this to your team. So you're going to go through the 8 questions one at a time, starting with core values. This is a great chance for the visionary or, maybe the owners together to share the core values, how they were discovered, what they mean to you. Remember that core values speech you spent time on? This is where you're going to deliver it. And then again, anytime you can bring in stories or ask people to contribute, make that as interactive as you can. Next up is your core focus. So talking about your purpose, cause, or passion and your niche. So really honing in on what is it that we do best in the world? What is our sweet spot? And that segues very nicely then into your core or 10-year target. So share that. This is your big, hairy, audacious goal, your kind of like North Star. This is where we're all heading. This is what we're dreaming of. And what we want to do is get everybody to see it and start rowing in the same direction, because it's going to be really exciting when we work together and accomplish that. Marketing strategy. So great place to check in. This is our core audience. We really want people who show up this way, feel this way, have these needs. We serve a very specific market. What does that look like? So who do we serve, and what is it that we say to them in our marketing and sales efforts so that they know we're a unique option, we're different than the rest. If you have a proven process, you can talk about that. If you have a guarantee, you could talk about that. If you haven't done your marketing strategy yet, that's super common. About half of my clients don't get to that in Vision Building Day 2. So no worries at all. What we do is we'll come back to that in one of your upcoming quarterlies. So you could just say that that's in the works and will be shared when it's ready. All right, my favorite part is your 3-year picture. So you'll remember in the room, I have you close your eyes and I try to tell a story. I'm actually painting a picture of what your business looks like in about 3 years' time. You may want to do the same with your people. Can they close their eyes? Can they envision this? Can you really paint something that they can see with their mind's eye? because once they can see it, they're going to be much more inclined to help you achieve it. Obviously, if you're one of your plan, so you've got your 3 to 7 goals. By the way, companies vary on whether or not they share revenue and profit goals. I tend to advocate for more transparency so people know what they're building and they can also see what growth looks like. Because when you talk about adding revenue and people start to see the scale of what your growth is going to be. But that is a personal choice. If you're not ready to share that with the entire organization, we totally get it. Then you have your rocks. So what were the company rocks that you set together in your quarterly session? Share each of those and who is accountable. If you have issues, you're certainly welcome to, talk about big issues or ideas that are on the table. But if you choose to skip that, that is fine as well. So that is the VTO. That is the biggest thing to introduce to everybody. And then after that, depending on where you are, you'll share your other 4 tools. So you've got your accountability chart. So the accountability chart intended to create more clarity around the structure of the organization, the functional needs or seats, and then who is accountable for each of those functional areas. So share that once you feel confident that that's in a great place. Know that it's dynamic, it's ever evolving. It's certainly not a static document, but will help people see like, okay, we've got some organization here. This is our reporting structure. This is who to go to for what kind of questions. And it really just starts to bring a lot of order where there might have been previously some chaos and blurriness about who does what. Your next tool is rocks. So you've already introduced them there on the VTO. If you have department or individual rocks, you can certainly share those. Or again, maybe the departments go back and as their own team with a leadership team member facilitating that meeting where they set their own rocks. Next up is scorecard. So the idea here is that I'm teaching you as a leadership team and we're going to migrate these disciplines down. So when you're ready, you're going to want to have scorecards for each department and ultimately get to the point where every single person in the organization is accountable for at least one measurable. So whether that is, something big or something small, it's giving them control over what is success in this company and how am I contributing to that, and knowing that whatever is expected of me is within my control. And so you're starting to draw the line between my daily job and how I'm laddering up and contributing to the bigger picture, the bigger vision. So migrate that discipline down when you're ready. Scorecards in every department, scorecard metrics where everybody has at least one number that they have to keep on track every single week. The next and last of our 5 foundational tools is the meeting pulse. So this is the idea of having a level 10 meeting in every department so that there is a place for people to go each and every week to talk about whether their rocks are on track, to report on whether their scorecard metrics are on track or off track and how to get them back on track if they've fallen behind, to have a place to take issues and to solve issues with their colleagues. So we want to get to the point where there's some kind of level 10 meeting in every department, that every single person has a meeting that they can go to and solve issues with their group. So it's up to you if you want to adjust that agenda a little bit. If you want to take that 90-minute meeting we have at the leadership team and condense it down into, say, an hour, or because they don't have scorecard yet, we eliminate that part of the agenda. All of that is fine while you're getting going, but the ultimate vision as you integrate EOS into the company is that everybody is using all the tools. So once again, those are the 5 foundational tools. We've got the VTO, accountability chart, scorecard, rocks, and your meeting pulse. So that is what it looks like to bring EOS into the rest of the organization. I did put some tools in your Drive folder. Let me see if I can find that. Where'd it go? Here it is. So you'll see that you have an EOS rollout to company, and there's a couple things in there that will be helpful in guiding you in that practice. And that we also have a couple of state of the company examples. You do not have to use a slide presentation. Some people choose to. I do think it's helpful to be visual, and I'm a visual learner, so that makes sense for me. But the way, if you wanted to have pass out VTOs and have handouts, that's also fine. But what you'll see in here is a few examples of state of the company meetings. The guide one is when we first unveiled our VTO and our practices of EOS to the rest of the organization back in 2017. I will tell you that we were novices back then and we got a few things wrong. So this is not a perfect document by any stretch. There's some vocabulary errors and so forth, but it just shows you how we painted the picture and told the story of why we were choosing to go to EOS and what that looked like for us. So that's it in a nutshell. Everything you need for the two new activities, rolling out EOS and having the state of the company meeting. I am here if you need me. Just ask questions. I want to support you and make this successful and get everybody on board with your company running on EOS. Thanks.